Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Downseller Studio YouTube channel. My name is Jen and I'm your host, and I'm here today with a tutorial for you. I have really been enjoying making Scrappy socks recently, but the part that's not super fun about Scrappy socks is weaving in all of the ends if you want to use up lots of tiny bits and bobs. If you're like me and you've done other Scrappy projects, you still end up with, some little bits of yarn that are kind of too small to use, but also they're really beautiful and I don't want to waste this. So I found a way to use both the helical knitting method, where you're using two different yarns together in the round, and joining that with Kate's Clasp Weft join, which is I think originally a weaving join, but it's a great way to join it in yarn, so you're catching the old yarn and the new yarn together, and then you don't have to go ahead and weave in those ends, so that at the end you can see all of the different yarns that I used here, but I don't have to weave in all the ends, but I still get the beauty of being able to have a fun sock with tons of cool colors. So let's dive right in and teach you how to do this for yourself. All right, let's get started. I have the cuff of my sock done. I chose to start the helical knitting after I finished the cuff, so I've done the cuff in one round of just plain stockinette knitting, and now I'm ready to go ahead and add in my second color. For this one, I am going to need to weave in the end that I'm creating here, so I want to make sure to leave a long enough tail. I've done 9 stitches here. The specific number is not super important. However, you will want at least 3 stitches before you change yarn, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my first stitch. I will just add in this yarn, leaving enough of a tail, and get going on the knitting here. Move my cord out of the way. And I am going to knit with this until I get 3 stitches before the last of my color 1, which is this blue yarn. We'll call the pink color 2. So let me go ahead and get through that, and then we will catch up again in a minute. Okay, we're back and we've done nearly a whole round with color B, which is that purple, or color 2. And now you can see here we've knit a few stitches in the pink, and we've left 3 stitches left of the first color. Now all we're going to do is leave this pink yarn behind to do our helical knitting, and go ahead and slip these 3 stitches and then knit into the next stitch using that blue yarn, which is ready for you there. And then we're going to knit all the way around until we get 3 stitches before the last pink stitch. And again, it will be very easy to see, because when we get back over here, we will just knit all of the pink stitches from the round below until we get to these 3. And then we will pick up the pink and go around. And that's the basics of helical knitting. The one thing that you need to keep in mind here is that because we just joined this pink, that first stitch is going to look a little bit loose until you weave in your ends, and that's not a problem. What I usually do from here is do several rounds in helical knitting until I'm ready to change out one of the colors. So let me show you a little bit about what this can look like. So in the first of this pair of socks, I used the same color, this one here, for the cuff, and then I started with this kind of electric yellow color. And then, as you can see here, I stopped using the color 1, the blue, before I stopped using the color 2, and I kept going. So let's go until we get our next color change, and then we will come back and show you how to use the Kate's Clasp Weft join to go ahead and join in the new yarn, so that you don't have to worry about having a ton of ends to weave in. I just want to show you we've come back around, so we've done another round with the first color, our blue here. We've done a few stitches at the beginning of the round, and now we have 3 pink stitches left, so it's ready to change colors. So we'll just simply slip these purlwise without working them at all. Just move them over. Go into our next of our blue stitches using the pink yarn, which is ready and waiting for us here. And then we're going to go around again and again, and we'll do a few more rows like this. You can start to see a little bit of the little micro striping effect that's happening here. All right, we are back and I am ready to get rid of color 1. I've done a few stripes of it after the cuff and I'm ready to be finished with that. So all I'm going to do now is cut this yarn. I probably will leave about 6 inches, but you technically don't need quite that much. Let's get this out of the way. And now we're going to go ahead and add in color 3, which is going to be this beautiful green, using Kate's Clasp Weft join. I do have a separate video for this on the YouTube channel, which you can check out if you like. I've been choosing to do this. Technically, you could change yarns anytime you like, but I like to do it right after I would normally be using that color. I just find it's less confusing on my brain that way. So if now pink is our color 2 and we're going to move to green, which is our color 3, I'm going to slip these 3 stitches. Okay, now we are ready to join color 1 and color 3. I'm going to make a loop and secure that, just hold it at the back here with my left hand. Then with my right hand, I'm going to add color 3 through this loop of color 1. And you can leave that tail as long as you like, just to make it a little bit easier to hold. You can see how those 2 yarns are going to be joined together now, and we're just going to knit with them together for a few stitches until we get past the new green color 3. So let's go ahead and start knitting. So you will have a double thickness of stitches here. And if you're new to this or you have a hard time reading your knitting, you might want to keep track here. So I've done 4 stitches with the blue. Again, I've left this a little bit longer than it needs to be, but now you can see we've got our first stitch with color 3. And I will probably do 4 stitches with the green yarn held double. And then either the tail will get too short or you can just leave it behind. And now you can just keep knitting around with color 3 and you've successfully gotten rid of color 1 and added in color 3. So now you'll be working colors 2 and colors 3 to do your stripes with those. Let me show you what it looks like when we get back around to the other side. All right, we've almost completed another round of knitting. We've worked color 3 until we get 3 stitches left of color 1, or color 2 rather. We're going to slip those like we've been doing, and then we'll go ahead and knit around with color 2. Now, the only thing to keep in mind here, the only thing that's different at all, is that once you get through those first couple stitches, you need to make sure that you knit those double stitches together. Because we held the yarn double, we need to knit them together. We want to make sure that we don't split those stitches. So we just make sure to put the needle through both of the stitches, and then it will look great. Let's go ahead and get to the end of this half so you can see what this looks like. So you do have a little bit of extra thickness there where you've held the yarn double, but in the overall sock, I don't find it to be terribly noticeable. Let me show you another sock. So I've done the clasp weft join on this. Because you're moving round and round, the spot for that changes. But again, there's no like huge lumpy bumpy bits in the socks, and it's a really fun way to use up really small balls of yarn. I still have this much left of the pink, and I likely won't even use it all for the number of stripes that I like to do. Now, of course, it's up to you how long you want to carry the different yarns for. I do different lengths based on what feels right to me, but you could decide that you want to change, you know, every 5th round or whatever works for you, or you could just keep doing this between 2 yarns all the way through your sock if you like. Now I want to show you what the inside of the sock looks like once you're done with all of those clasp weft joins. You can go ahead and just snip that yarn. Because you've put them together and knit them in together, there's really no way for it to come apart. I tend to leave, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch or so. I might cut these a little bit shorter for somebody else, and honestly, if these socks were for me, I might leave them a little bit closer to this length. And that is just so that they don't end up poking out through the front of the fabric, which, to be fair, with this join, they can do. And it's pretty easy to go ahead and just shove them back through to the wrong side. And when you're wearing it, you don't feel it. At least I don't. It's not been something that bothers me. You can, of course, trim them even closer if that is bothersome to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful. If it was, definitely give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I would be happy to help you if I can. For now, go ahead and make something scrappy and come share it with me over on Instagram. I'm BostonGen1. I would love it if you would tag me and let me see your Scrappy, Helical, Clasp, Weft projects. Can't wait to see you. Bye.